Toxic people attach themselves like cinder blocks to your ankles, and then they invite you out for a swim just so they can drown your ass.
You are now listening to The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay on Spotify. A podcast aimed to uncover and share the stories behind heinous and insane acts that have been overlooked or overshadowed by mainstream media, getting justice for the voices that can't speak.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kay, and I am the host of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. A podcast designed to focus on crimes committed in the Black community that you don't hear about in mainstream media, giving a voice to those victims that have otherwise been silenced. I know you're probably looking at the title and you're like, Big Three? Didn't you already release that? And I did. I did. But listen, you guys spoke, I listened, I saw the comments, I got the messages, the emails, and everything regarding the audio. And y'all know I'm not just going to put out some mediocre shit, okay? So, as promised, I told you guys that I was going to re record the episode for the Big Three. Now, what I'm actually going to do is try to minimize it to one episode where it'll probably be about 2.5 hours if it'll let me. So we're gonna see. But if not, then of course it'll be, split up into two episodes like before. Only the quality of the recording is going to be better. I do apologize about that. When I listened to it, it sounded great. I'm not sure what happened, but y'all not about to get no popcorn, version of the show. The only popcorn is gonna be the snack that I have because y'all know I love me some popcorn. Okay, especially that over what's it called? Orville Redenbacher in the bucket. Yes, I love them joints right there. I eat like 3 or 4 of those a week. But anyway, I digress. So like I said, you're probably looking and you see that it says the big three, but this is the revised version of the big three, the bigger, better version of the big three. A lot of stuff is going to sound repetitive, but of course, obviously, some stuff is different because it's like a completely different week. So, with that being said, as always, I welcome y'all back to one of the greatest true crime podcasts that there is, the infamous ones, a true crime podcast. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, y'all. Ladies, how y'all feel? Fellas, y'all all right? I hope everybody is doing good this wonderful January, this wonderful new year. Like I said before, it's a new year, new beginnings, new opportunities for so many things. I challenge each and every one of you to go out there and completely kick ass this year, okay? It is 2025. That means that it is a new year for you to go out there and take the reins, okay? It is a new year for you to go out there and make magic happen. Make your name known in a positive way though. Let me clarify. Don't be out there doing some dumb shit and you get arrested or some shit and be like, "Well, Kay said make my name known." No. No. Don't do that cuz then I'm going to act like I don't know you. But it is a new year. And with new year, of course, is new opportunities. One thing that I am doing this year is more merch. So y'all know I love going, well, guess what? I now have t-shirts with the phrase as well as t-shirts that have another phrase that you guys hear quite often. Wonder what that is. But yes, new merch. Of course, I got the coffee mugs and stuff like that. As always, you guys know that I am a published author, so I've got some new work dropping this year with the first book dropping in March on my birthday. So, yay, happy birthday to me. It's a little bit of ways off, but yeah, that will be dropping on my birthday. I'm very excited about that book. It's a lot of opportunities if you recall, if you're in the discussion group, the infamous ones discussion group on Facebook, you've heard me talking about an episode that I've been working on for quite a while. there is an episode that I'm doing that involves a lot of research and it has a special guest. But unfortunately, this particular guest was unable to record when we were trying to put it together. So I am putting that episode kind of on the back burner, so to speak, until their schedule opens because the episode is of that much importance, and I think everyone will love it. It is probably one of the biggest episodes that I have ever worked on in the year that Infamous Ones has been, playing in the year that Infamous Ones has been going. So I really hope that you all continue to rock with your girl this year. Continue to make the infamous ones even bigger and better. Continue to share, continue to let your people know. Shout out to Sisters Who Kill. Yeah, my voice cracked. Sorry. But shout out to Sisters Who Kill, Mariah and Taz, for having such a great platform where other, Black true crime podcasters such as myself have opportunity to have our voices heard. Shout out to Mariah and Taz, of course, because a lot of people from Sisters Who Kill that listen to Sisters Who Kill are now listening to the infamous ones, and they're just like, yeah. I heard about your show through Mariah and Taz. I heard about your show through the podcast. And I'm like, wow, you know, unfortunately, we are in a society where a lot of times people act like there's not enough room at the table for everybody. People act like it's a competition. And for Mariah and Taz to really open up the door for so many others is amazing. And it's a blessing, So I'm always going to shout out my sisters, Mariah and Taz. I love Mariah, her melodious voice, Taz with that crazy giggle of hers. They doing tours and all of that, y'all. I'm just trying to get, one live show in somehow. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. Also, shout out to Renee from Melanin Mayhem. She is absolutely amazing. That girl be having me cracking up. Listen, if you do not listen to Melanin Mayhem, I suggest that you hurry up and download because, baby, Renee will have you in stitches. Okay. When I tell you, as soon as I hear, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Or when hey, New Orleans Nation, I love Nay. She is another Georgia Peach, just like me, just like, Mariah and Taz, also Georgia Peaches. Y'all know how we do the Georgia Peach, and I'm back again. Listen, that's about as close as I want to get to Rashida because that's a whole nother story. But anyway, like I said, this episode is going to be a little special because it is 3 episodes worth of content in one. Yes, clutch pearls moments. I know. Listen, I got my drink ready. Okay. I got my drink of choice tonight, which is gonna be it's still my Crown Peach, okay? When I did the original recording, I was drinking Crown Peach straight, and I'm doing it again because it's only right. But this time I'm making sure I'm paying more attention to the audio and I'm not as buzzed. Unfortunately, with this episode, I was literally counting down, the new year and excited to have dropped that episode before the new year kicked off. But y'all still gonna get the goods, okay? So, again, like I said, welcome back to the infamous ones. Oh, and shout out to my husband, and I'm gonna keep saying my husband. Call me Jack A, honey, my husband. Yes, honey, because he got me that new recording equipment that is giving me that great quality. I've finally figured out how to, maneuver everything and get everything working. So I'm really excited about that. Got a better microphone, better audio, all of that, okay? And like I said before, y'all better know I love y'all because 3 episodes of content in one, whew, baby, that's a lot, okay? It's a whole lot. Now, with that being said, y'all know what time it is, all right? Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Or in other words, let's get it. This first case takes place in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, it's fairly recent as this occurred in 2022, but it was recommended by one of our wonderful listeners and members of the Infamous Ones discussion group on Facebook. And of course, when I started looking into it, it definitely piqued my attention and my interest because there were some just crazy things where I was just like, it literally gave me a what the fuck moment. So I definitely, wanted to look into the case, and I'm glad that I did because now it is, a part of the episode. And it's something that unfortunately is becoming more common. Like it's one of those age-old tales of a side chick that just couldn't walk away. This case involves Kania Brunson, victim, Johnny Hopgood, accomplice, and the infamous murderer, Sultan Sharif. Kania Brunson was born June 30th, 2002, to Jennifer Meadows and Shantae Brunson. She was the firstborn to Jennifer, and she did have a baby brother, Malik. He was adorable too. Her mother had married this great guy. She had a great stepfather, Cameron, very good looking dude. Kanaya was definitely kind of like just a spark. She would light up the room. Like I was combing through her and her family's social media and just looking at different videos and everything. And baby girl was very photogenic. You could tell she loved taking pictures. And y'all know, these kids being born in the early 2000s, they Gen Z babies and millennial babies and all of that, like they something different, okay? They come out the womb on social media damn near. Like my baby knows how to take selfies in my phone and I'm just like, "You can take selfies in my phone, but you don't know how to sit on the potty." Okay, that kind of thing. So that's how these kids are. She had so many different selfies and videos and all of that on her page. Same thing with her mom. Like she, posts a lot of pictures and videos and whatnot. But I mean, can you blame her? Like she's a pretty girl. She's, attractive, little slim thing, ain't got no baby fat on her nowhere, ain't, popping out no baby. So she still got that before baby body. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Where there's not a stretch mark in place anywhere, where, she could eat chili cheese fries, pizza, chicken wings, all the lemon pepper wings and shit and not gain an ounce. But then as soon as you had that baby body, you even think about a lemon pepper wing and you got cellulite on your damn thighs, arms. You got that auntie who made the good potato salad arm. Man, okay. Anyway, so like I said, she's a very attractive girl. She's very pretty, very out there, like not out there in a negative way, but just like really, outgoing, very just that spark, like I said before. She was well loved, 20 years old, living the typical teenage life or young adult life, hanging out with her friends, having fun, spending money, doing all of those kind of things. One of her favorite things to do was spending time with her family. Like she liked going to the fair and things like that with them. But again, she is also very much still a young adult, and young adults make mistakes. Kanaya was a great student in school and everything. She had a lot of different dreams and aspirations for her life. She wanted to be an orthodontist, maybe even a veterinarian because she did love animals. And, her mom said that she was just the type of person that you just fell in love with. She would crack jokes all day long with her people, and she always made a way to like make her friends smile. And on top of that, she was very protective of her baby brother Malik, like very protective. Like, that's my brother. You ain't gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna fuck you up, kind of vibe. As most siblings are. They can bicker, they can fight all day long, but you mess with one of them, run up, get done up, baby. Okay. The way that Kanaya was, she just, everybody wanted to be around her because she just had this aura that just attracted you to her. But like I said, don't get it twisted. She is still very much a teenager. Not every day was sunshine and lollipops. As attractive as she was and, as sweet as she was, she's a kid. She's in the boys. What girl isn't at that age? I know I was boy crazy, at one point. So she's into boys and, you know, unfortunately, there's a thing where they say that girls mature faster than boys when it comes to physical and mental. And typically, the physical comes first. Unfortunately, we women tend to mature a lot faster physically than these boys. And then of course they still got the mental capacity of Elmo, and we are having the mental capacity of Michelle Obama. It happens. So she's boy crazy, she's feeling different dudes, all of that. And maybe that was how she ended up meeting Sultan, but their paths crossed in just the weirdest way, and Kanaya ended up, kinda getting her a little sugar daddy. Now, I was really looking, trying to figure out how she met this man, but I couldn't find a damn thing. It was just mind-boggling. Like, her family had no clue that she was messing with this man, supposedly. Now, that's what the court records say. So, Kanaya crosses paths with Sultan Sharif. Sultan Sharif was born October 28th, 1969. Y'all, this girl was born in 2002. What the fuck? Ugh. Anyway, homie was problematic from day one. Like I said, he's one of those that, like, he's one of them that when the kid is born, you can just look at them and be like, yeah, your baby ain't gonna be shit. Like, that was Sultan. Like, I know that sounds fucked up to say, but I promise you, it's some kids that I look at to this day, and I see their behavior early on. Like, they could be as young as 2, 3 years old. I see their behavior and their patterns and all of that. And I promise you, I just be looking like they gonna fuck up their whole lives. Like, you can tell, I know it sounds bad, but it's facts. Like, it's some kids that you can look at and ain't no point in saving up for college. Save that money for bail or JPay, okay? I'm just saying, because they ain't gonna be shit. And Sultan was a prime example of what was that movie in Boys in the Hood where she was like, you ain't shit, your daddy ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's what Sultan was. By 20 years old, he had already been in the system, between 1989 up until he was arrested for her murder. This man had 13 convictions. And I'm talking about shit that was like serious, not no little petty crimes. Like, I'm talking about like possession of narcotics, probation violations. He even did 10 years in prison. This nigga's criminal record was longer than damn Cam Newton's list of baby mamas, okay? But like I said, he's got this extensive criminal record, 13 convictions for various crimes since 1989. There were actually two times that he had his probation revoked. When he got locked up in 1996, he did 10 years for possession of narcotics. And I guess he thought that, he was Frank Lucas or some shit like that, but he was more like little corner boy and got that ass caught and got locked up. And not just in Wisconsin did he have cases. This nigga had court cases in Texas too. Okay, so he was just a career criminal, for lack of better words. So after he got out of prison in 2006, he was doing good for a little bit, and I do mean a little bit. He did have multiple kids. So Sultan had three daughters: Bianca, London, Morgan, and then he also had a son named Trayvon. And baby, when I tell you Sultan is a itty bitty thing, baby, them folks was loving that little Oompa Loompa honey. He stood all of 5'3" and about 148 pounds. Nigga, 5'3"? Really? You really are an Oompa Loompa. Like, oh my God, he a little motherfucker. Which is very disturbing to me. Y'all, oh my God. It don't make no sense. I'm terrible. I know. But like I say, he's short. Like, he's tiny. He's so little. Like, that would creep me out because that legit is like a toddler. And, on top of that, most short men that I've met, they typically have like this Napoleon complex because, they're seen as little and all of that. And 9 times out of 10, somebody, is probably looking at them kind of, sideways or, low key talking shit, whatever, whatever. So these little short motherfuckers got to walk around here stomping around like they big Billy badass and, oh, look at me and I'm the tough guy and, all of that. And I'm like, nigga, you got to get a stool to hop out your car. But okay, you know. But like I said, that's just how I've encountered some individuals that are, on the shorter scale. But when Sultan gets out of prison, he's doing good and everything and working hard. And he ends up meeting this woman named Sherry Hopgood. And he's looking at her and he's like, damn, she pretty as hell. She gorgeous shit. And I mean, they had a lot in common. So they started hanging out. And, Cherie was a good look for him. Cherie Hopgood was born August 10th, 1974, so she's about 5 years younger than Sultan. And she's got a brother that she was really tight with named Johnny. And so when she started dating Sultan, naturally he and Johnny get cool. They bro-in-laws, they kicking it, they hanging out, like most niggas do. Now, Johnny's also got a little bit of history, when it comes to criminal records, got one of his own. Johnny Allen Hopgood was born March 23rd, 1978, and he was into some shit, just not as much as Sultan. On June 21st, 2020, Johnny was charged for assault and robbery and pleaded guilty to obstructing an officer and resisting arrest. And I guess they were, I guess you could call them two criminal peas in a pod. So maybe that's why they got so tight. I don't know. But what I will say is when I was doing my research, it was a bit surprising because in March of 2016, Sultan ended up having to have a triple bypass surgery on something like he just came into the hospital for something minor. Like, homie went to the ER for chest pains and, they're monitoring him and they were like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and operate, big dog. So he ended up having like this severe surgery done. And, he called Cherie, baby, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Tell my mama I love her. Or whatever the fuck that nigga said, and of course she right there at his side. Oh baby, I got you. It's gonna be okay. They ain't gonna take you from me. I'm gonna be here for you, boo. All of that. And so Cherie is right there by his side to make sure that he good. And Sultan is like, damn, this woman stood by me. Like she taking care of me. Yo, I wanna marry her. So he proposes, and of course, Cherie says yes. And on September 17th, 2016, he and Cherie got married. Now, despite the fact that he got married, Sultan had a wayward eye, shall we say. And well, he ends up crossing paths and meeting Kanaya. Now, this is where I get sick to my stomach because Kanaya was just a teenager when she met him. Now, what I was looking at is one place that he used to frequent a lot is the Butler skating rink in Milwaukee. And something in my spirit, something is telling me that he probably met her there because the skating rink was always full of teenagers, like high school kids and all of that. And him and his wife used to go skating a lot. Like, to the point that there was actually a situation that occurred at the skating rink one day, and he so called himself making this post on Facebook about, Butler skating rink. He was actually asking people to like boycott it because the owner's son and him got into it. And apparently the owner's son was being disrespectful to him and, throwing around the fact like, oh, my dad owns this place and blah, 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 all of that, you know that Wahite privilege, but apparently they get into it, whatever. So he goes on Facebook and he's like, y'all boycott this place. They don't know how to treat their customers, blah, 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 blah. Clearly it got no traction. Nothing happened. Okay. Like, and then on top of that, he kept going back. But like I said, that is my assumption is that he met her at the skating rink because he was there so much. So Sultan meets Kanaya and they start fucking around. And she's a teenager. Woo, this nasty motherfucker. And I'm not surprised because, like I said, this man has such a crazy criminal record. So, of course, it would make sense for him to want to fuck a teenager when he's clearly in his 30s and is old enough to be this girl's damn daddy. But they start messing around. And even though he's messing around with her, remember, he is still very much married to Cherie. And it's so weird because this man is constantly posting on social media about him and his wife. And, maybe it's like guilt making him do it. I don't know. And I just feel like he was trying to cover it up, but whatever he was doing, Kanaya saw all that shit. Because again, these teenagers live on social media, okay? Like, I know I stay on social media damn near all day long to be, promoting books and the podcast and whatever. So I know for a fact that Kanaya was probably looking at his ass on social media and seeing him post about him and his wife, like, wow, you just out here throwing this bitch in my face like that? Oh, okay. Now, I don't know if he outright told her, like, yo, I got a wife. I don't know if he was on that DMX, come on, ma, I got a wife. But as much as he posted on social media and as many as pages as this nigga had on social media, it wasn't that hard to figure out, like, at all. And strangely enough, Kanaya was okay with being the side piece. Like, at least for a while anyway. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he was in her ear telling her, everything that he knew that would keep her around and, keep her wanting to be with him because she's young, she's impressionable, she don't know no better. Like this man done went and got married and I'm looking at his social media and I'm looking at Cherie's social media. When I went to look at her social media, I saw that all of their pages were joint pages. And that shit is hilarious to me because usually that means somebody done fucked up. Okay. Insert that moment where I say, "Oh, you done fucked up." I'm not actually gonna do that part yet, but somebody done fucked up because anytime I see anybody with a joint page, somebody done stuck their dick in something they ain't had no business doing, done fucked around on their wife or their girl or whatever, and I'm betting that's what it was. And I know this to be facts because when I was married, before my current husband, but when I was married to my ex-husband and that nigga cheated, guess what? I made him get rid of his social media. And of course, my dumb ass didn't realize back then, thinking, oh, well, he gonna get rid of his Facebook so I can monitor everything he does on social media, not realizing niggas is gonna cheat no matter how many Facebook pages they surrender. They can create a new Facebook page. They can create a fake Facebook profile. They can, not even be on social media and cheat. Like that was the dumbest shit for me to even remotely think back then was like, oh, we can have a joint Facebook. And we did. And so like with me and him, we would have this Facebook page. Anytime he would post, he would put his name in parentheses so people would know that it was him talking versus me. That was the stupidest shit I have done. Oh my God, to be young and dumb. I'm telling y'all. Looking back, that was some crazy shit because social media did not stop that nigga from continuing to cheat. Like niggas is gonna cheat if they want to cheat. Okay. I'm just telling you, ladies. But anyway, so all of Sultan's social media pages were of him and his wife. Like he had this one page, Love You, Cherie. And then there was another page that was like Cherie and Sultan, which is, woof, wow, that's real specific. But still, Kanaya and Sultan, they're hooking up and they're doing their thing. And Kanaya graduates high school and, she still wants to help people. She's still interested in becoming this orthodontist or, veterinarian, but she starts kind of getting into the glitz and glam of things too. And she's always switching her hair and everything up and doing her makeup. So she starts doing it on other people. And she actually teaches her mother how to, like, put on her lashes and stuff, and so when she starts teaching other people, she decides, "Hey, you know what? Even though I wanna do, be an orthodontist, even though I wanna be a veterinarian, I think I may wanna go to beauty school too." And so she decides that she's gonna enroll in beauty school. But not only that, she says, I think I wanna do more. I think I also wanna continue to help people, and I wanna continue to be on the front line. So in addition to her enrolling in beauty school, she also enrolls in some nursing courses too. Like, she had an agenda, okay? Shout out to her being young with an agenda because many don't. Not at that age. At 20 years old, it's partying, it's drinking, it's smoking, it's, you know, doing everything under the sun but focusing. But the good thing is that, Kanaya was very focused. So not even 21 yet, and she's, doing all of these things and all of these accomplishments and really trying to make something of herself. But the only problem is she's still playing the side piece to this nigga Sultan. Now, the women that have been there before, i.e. me, and have ignored the red flags. I want to think that Cherie knew that her man was out there fucking around because, like I said, there's little hints that there were, clues that she just ignored. Like the fact that they had this joint social media page in the first place. The only reason a person is going to have a joint page is because either A, one person don't know how to work social media, and so they have a joint page, and 9 times out of 10, one person ain't on the social media like that. Or B, one person got caught cheating. And I don't think in this situation it was A at all. I would bet my last dollar that this nigga cheated. So that was one clue where I was like, okay, you know what? Cherie knew that this nigga was out here fucking around. That makes me feel like Cherie was just kind of like masking herself from it. And so at some point, I guess Sultan decided, you know what? I really want to, turn shit around and make my life better for my wife. So in September of 2022, he goes to Kanaya and he tells her, you know what, baby, what we had is it's been cool and all. And I fuck with you the long way, but I gotta be real with you. I gotta cut this shit off. Like we can't keep fucking around no more. And Kanaya didn't take that too well at all. She's like, "What the fuck you mean we done? How you just gonna call it quits with me? Like, I know the fuck you not trying to play me, not you trying to stand here in my face and tell me that we done." And he tells her like, "Yo, Kanaya, baby, I'm serious. I mean, I don't want to be with you no more." But Kanaya is pissed off. A word? You don't want to be with me no more? All right then, nigga. I got something for your ass. So I guess he thought it was over and done with. So after he broke up with her, he goes about his business and he's kicking it with his wife, spending time with his wife, all of that. Me personally, I honestly think that maybe Cherie found out and was like, I'm telling you now, you need to leave this little girl alone before your dumb ass get locked up again. Who knows? Because Lord knows if that's me and I'm your wife and I find out that you fucking around with a teenage girl, I'm gonna give you the advice and be like, hey nigga, as I'm leaving your ass, I'm gonna tell you you better stop fucking with her ass before I call the cops and tell them that you doing some R. Kelly kind of shit. But I digress. Clearly, Cherie was on some other shit. So maybe she did warn him, and tell him, like, yo, stop fucking with this little girl. I don't know. But at any rate, he dips on Kanaya, breaks it off with her. And she's upset. She's distraught. She is a teenager, y'all. She does not have the mental capacity to handle this shit like some 35-year-old woman. She is dick dumb, for lack of better words. So, she's mad and she's like, how the fuck is this nigga just gonna leave me? Oh, baby, she does the unthinkable. She calls Sultan's wife and tells her, hey, it was on some hello, Barbara. This is Shirley. And she tells her, I hope you know that I've been fucking your husband. We've been fucking around for years. Oh, the devastation. The tragedy. My husband cheat? Why, that can't be possible. Y'all know that ain't how it went down. Ain't no way in fuck Sheree talk like that. It was probably more like, "Bitch, who the fuck are you? How the fuck you get my number? My husband ain't been fucking around on me with no little ass teenage girl, so stop fucking calling my phone." And she probably hung up and said a whole slew of cuss words and some other shit. And of course, when Sultan came home, I'm almost certain that Cherie was digging in his ass. Like, "Oh, you got your fucking side bitch calling my phone and telling me that she fucking you? Are you fucking for real, nigga? You embarrassing me in these streets? I ain't having that shit. You got this bitch calling me. You better fix this shit. Don't have no bitch calling my phone with this bullshit over your ass." And Sultan is all apologetic, "Baby, baby, 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 hold up, she lying. Don't listen to her. It ain't true." Like, I swear, niggas don't know how to take accountability for shit. So he broke up with Kanaya, and Kanaya went and flipped the script to get back at him and told his wife. Okay, look, this got to be said. Let me explain something to y'all ladies, okay? If you are the side piece, you will not be the main piece by calling this man's girlfriend, wife, spouse, whatever, and telling her that y'all are fucking around. Because that shows to this nigga that you can't be loyal. I know it sounds fucked up. I know it may not make any sense, but listen to me good, okay? I'm not encouraging you to go out there and be somebody's cornbread. I'm not encouraging you to go be somebody's coleslaw, be a side piece. I'm just saying, if you're going to be a side piece and you are wanting the main piece position, then you might not want to call the wife and tell them that you are fucking and sucking a man, because several things can happen here. One, you can call this man's wife, fiance, girlfriend, whatever, and tell her, "Hey, I'm fucking your man." And she's going to come and find you and fuck you up in the process. Bitch, I hope you can fight. And then he ain't gonna wanna fuck with you no more because you done snitched on him. Or two, you can call this woman and tell her, "Bitch, I've been fucking your man." And then she gonna turn around and blank on his ass and leave him. And then 9 times out of 10, he's still not gonna wanna fuck with you because duh, you snitched on him. And now he's resenting you because she probably gonna take him for everything that he owns, especially if they got kids and or were married, alimony, child support. Like, come on, those are things you need to think about. Three, she can turn around and depending on what state you live in, she can sue motherfucking ass because you are the reason why their relationship didn't last. I know in the good old state of North Carolina, because trust me, I considered this shit. In the good old state of North Carolina, if you are unfaithful to your spouse and your spouse knows who you cheated on them with, and they know that person's name, and that person knows that you are married, and they are the reason why your relationship failed, guess what? When my ex-husband went out there and did what he did, and I knew the bitches that he cheated on me with, I could have easily sued every last one of them. Because while I was at home looking like Susie Sausage Head, thinking everything was all cool, this nigga was out here sticking his dick in other bitches. And then guess what? Poof, I found out. So depending on the state, you can be sued. So that's just something else to think about. Not all states, but some. And then another one is that guess what? If you call her and say, "Hey, I'm fucking your nigga." This is the one that usually happens. She can stay with his ass and be stalking him and monitoring him like a hawk, making sure that he don't do shit, and he ain't gonna wanna fuck with you because, again, bitch, you snitched on him. The common denominator here is that you snitched on him, so he owes you no loyalty. He's not gonna take you from side to main. He is going to leave your ass in the trash, okay? So, like I said, I'm not saying, "Hey, go out there and be a side piece. Go on, be a hoe." But if you're gonna be a side piece, be a good one. You know what I'm saying? Because now shit is getting thick. Okay? In this situation, shit is getting thick. Now, Cherie knows that her husband is out here fucking around on her with some teenage girl, and Sultan got a mess that he gotta clean up. So it's been like a week, and he calls Kanaya's mama Jennifer, and he tells her, "Hey, how you doing? This is Sultan. I've been fucking with your daughter. Look, I want to be done messing with your daughter, but she reaching out to my wife." And Kanaya's mama Jennifer, she confused. Um, nigga, what the hell are you talking about? Now, okay, here's the thing. There's some conflicting reports. A lot of people think that Jennifer knew that her daughter was fucking around with a married man and, that she had this so-called sugar daddy. Although I don't see how the fuck he was a sugar daddy because what the fuck did this nigga have? Like, I promise you, if y'all would have seen the court documents, you'd understand why I said that. But I guess to a teenager, they don't know no better because, maybe that nigga gave her like $20, $30 here and there and she thinks she's taken care of. Who knows? But the nigga wasn't no Nate and Shotty was still in a bind at the end of the day. So Jennifer is trying to figure out what Sultan is talking about because, like I said, he up and calls her with this crazy shit and it's like, oh, I'm fucking done with your daughter. And she's trying to figure out what he's meaning by that. And about a week later, she gets her answer. Saturday, September 24th, 2022, Kanaya goes missing. Jennifer is used to talking to her daughter every day. This is her baby. This is her daughter. This is her firstborn. They talk all the time. They talk when she's on her way to class or when she's on her way to work. Even though Kanaya is independent, she still very much has a close relationship with her mother, but she hadn't heard from her and she's starting to, get worried. Jennifer's trying to find her. She's calling her grandmother Charlene, trying to see if, maybe Charlene had seen her. And Grandma Charlene's like, no, baby, I ain't seen her. And so Jennifer calls the cops and she tells them, hey, officers, my daughter is missing. I don't know where she is. Please help me. Now, there is one person that knows where Kanaya is. That person is Sultan. Sultan tells Kanaya to meet up with him that day, so she hops in the car and she ends up near Keith Avenue and Palmer Street. So he gets into her car with her and they start arguing. And he's just going off. You been fucking calling my wife. Bitch, is you crazy? What the fuck is wrong with you? How the fuck you gonna do that shit? Like all of this. And at this time, Kanaya actually had a no contact order out on Sultan. And there were actually a couple of people that had a no contact order out on him. But yet and still, for whatever reason, she came to see him. And, he probably sweet talked to her, baby, I miss you. I love you. Come see me. I'm sorry. And the next thing you know, things get heated and he just attacks her. You calling my wife. How the fuck you gonna try to blow up my spot? And y'all, he grabs a knife and he stabs her and he cuts her throat. And she's screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God, help me! Help me! Somebody help me! He's cutting me!" One of Sultan's friends is nearby and actually sees him in the car, like overpowering her. So the friend calls 911 and tells the dispatcher, "Hey, listen, there's a girl being hurt in a car over here. I think my friend Sultan is hurting her. Y'all gotta get over here quick." And so he gives the address and the cops are dispatched. But before the cops get there, though, Sultan binds Kanaya's wrist with this wire, then takes his gun and shoots Kanaya, killing her instantly. And so, at this point, he knows he got to get out of there quick. So he hits up his brother in law, Johnny Hopgood. And he's like, hey, yo, listen, I need your help. I got to get rid of something. So he scoops Johnny up and they take Kanaya to a different location. Why the fuck did this nigga set her body on fire in an attempt to cover up the evidence? Like he stashes her car, takes off, leaves her there. The cops get to the address that the friend had, called them from, and they don't see anything. But, when they get dispatched to another call, they find the body of Kania Brunson burning. And now they have to figure out who did it. Sultan's gone, so there's no witnesses. And they find her car a couple of blocks away and they call her mom and tell her, hey, Mrs. Meadows, we found your daughter's car. And Jennifer knows as soon as they told her that they found her daughter's car, she knew in her heart Kanaya was dead. So the cops are trying to figure out what happened. Kanaya's face is like displayed all over the news at this point. They done found this body. They're telling people, if you know anything about what happened to this young lady, please call us. And Jennifer and her baby daddy Shantae, they're talking to the media, they're telling them about their daughter. They want to make sure that her story is heard. Her father, Shantae Brunson, he says, Kanaya was my everything. She taught me a lot about myself as a person. You'd love to have her in your life. I'm sad my baby had to leave this earth. Her grandmother was talking about how Kanaya was such a vibrant young woman with a beautiful smile and how she loved going to the state fair. Meanwhile, Sultan is coming home to his wife and he's telling her, hey baby, if the cops ask, just tell them I was with you all night and that we was together. And she side-eyeing the fuck out of him because, bro, what the fuck did you do? And of course, he ain't gonna tell her, but shit, at this point, the shit's all over the news. So she definitely saw that this girl was dead. And I'm sorry, but one and one is two. Okay. You know what this nigga did. You knew he was fucking with this girl because the girl called you. So if the girl calls you, says she's fucking with your nigga, and now all of a sudden you see her face all over the news, like, come on. And then on top of that, she dead on the news after being stabbed, shot, and burned. Like, girl, ain't no way that you could say that you didn't know shit. Ain't no way that you can literally sit here and just look at this man and not think like, okay, something's wrong with this motherfucker. The cops start doing their investigation and they're starting to notice that there's some little holes in Sultan's story. Because remember that 911 call that came in, the guy was like, listen, I'm pretty sure this is Sultan in this car with this girl. So they bring, Sultan in initially for an interview, and I guess he thinks he plays it cool. And he was like, nah, I wasn't with no Kanaya. I was like, 3, maybe 4 miles away. I was at home. Shoot, you can ask my wife. So they bring in Sultan's wife, Cherie, and she corroborates his story. And she's like, well, my husband was home with me all night. We were spending time together. So, of course, she's his alibi. And the only thing is, the cops aren't buying it. They tell him straight up, look, Sultan, you were seen with this girl. There are witnesses, not to mention the phone records. But, Sultan has an answer for that too. So he all of a sudden is like, listen, yeah, she contacted me that day saying that she needed help with a place to stay and how she's trying to get her car fixed and just get on her feet. So that's why I helped her out. Oh, but you don't know her, remember? You wasn't nowhere near her. Now you was just trying to help her out? Okay. So ultimately, the cops, they didn't believe that shit that he was saying. And so, a month after she was killed, Sultan Sharif was arrested and charged with first degree intentional homicide, party to a crime, and mutilating a corpse. Johnny Hopgood was charged as an accomplice. They were thrown in jail, as they should have been, and Sultan's bond was set at $500,000, and Johnny's was set at 50,000. So while they're in jail, the cops are doing their investigation and getting evidence together. And in December of 2023, the murder trial begins. Now, the trial was held at Milwaukee County Circuit Court, and Judge David Swanson presided over the case. So, Kanaya's family, they're in the courtroom. And when I say they were hashtag Kanaya strong, oh, absolutely. Very much so. They were in the courtroom just about every day wearing these white t-shirts with like this collage picture of Kanaya on it. And on the photo, it said, Our angel forever in our hearts. Like basically, they're doing all of this, letting Sultan know, like, yeah, we here, we gonna represent for Kanaya, nigga, fuck you, for lack of better words. And the prosecution really did their thing and dug in Sultan's ass, honey. Assistant District Attorney Ian Vance Curzon questioned just about everything that Sultan said and did. And the fucked up thing is Sultan kept tripping himself up, like, which was crazy. So, like, for example, they're asking him, "Well, Mr. Sharif, what was your involvement with the deceased Kania Brunson?" And at first, he's like, "Oh, we wasn't fucking around like that." And then all of a sudden it changed to, "Well, I was messing with her, but I had ended things." And then it turned into, "Oh, well, I was at home with my wife all night. I wasn't fucking with her. I was with my wife. I was with the love of my life." And it was all over the place. Like, he just kept changing his story over and over and over. Like, he even said, "Well, somebody else must have burned up her body because I ain't do it. I think my cousin did it." Wow. Not that you blaming your cousin, my G. Like, you just throwing niggas in the mix. Okay. So his story just keeps changing. And when they question why he agreed to meet up with Kanaya that day, he tells the jury, "Well, I felt so sorry for her to some degree, but that other stuff, I wouldn't hurt her." And this is where I start to think,
No, you done fucked up, right? No, 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 no. You know you done fucked up, right?
"Nigga, you perjured the fuck out yourself on the stand, you dummy. You literally admitted that you were there with her and then you kept changing your story. Like, how do you think that this is making you look right now?" What did Cat Williams say in one of his stand-ups? "Oh, how do you feel about you, stupid bitch?" Like, you literally legit changed your story so many times. You don't think the jury caught on to that? You don't think the prosecution caught on to that? That's why they dug in your ass so much, because they knew that you fucked up when you got on the stand. They knew that you were stupid. And they literally proved it to everybody. Just dumb. Like, understand this. This man, Sultan Sharif, has been grooming her. Okay? Like, the prosecution tells the jury flat out, Sultan Sharif is a pedophile. He's sick. He's been grooming this girl. He's been having a relationship with this woman for years. Yes, she's 20 years old now. Yes, she's legal, but he has been sleeping with her since she was a teenager. We all need to remember that. He is a menace. He is a pedophile. He's been filling her head with lies. This man has an extensive record. He's been in prison for possession. He's had a no contact order regarding Kanaya and other individuals. But yet, he was in the same car with this girl and nothing happened? Come on now. This man has spent several years in and out of jail and prison. He was just convicted for another crime in April of 2023 while he was waiting for the murder trial. Like, let's not think that he's completely innocent. This is what the prosecution is telling the jury, and they are spot fucking on. So after 6 days, the jury is excused to deliberate, and it took them all of 45 minutes before they reached their decision, before they reached their verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant, Sultan Sharif, guilty. Baby, once they found out the verdict, the defense had to think and quick. They tried to put in a request for Sultan to be eligible for release from prison and placed on an extended supervision after serving 20 years. And Judge Swanson hears this. He looked at that shit and deaded that shit so fast. Like, you must be out your motherfucking mind. Nigga, you brutally killed a girl in cold blood. And so Judge Swenson, he looked at him and, he's telling him, absolutely not. A life sentence is warranted because of this lengthy criminal history, which in my mind demonstrates that he is unable or unwilling to change his ways. And I wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely. He tells him, "You told this girl to meet you, you stabbed her, then you bound her hands with wire so she couldn't break free while you shot her and then set her body on fire." I mean, like, come on now. Do you really think that 20 years is going to be enough after everything that you've done? All the lying, deceitfulness, duplicitousness. Like, come on, man. You really think 20 years is going to be enough? Absolutely not. You're going to sit in a cell and rot for the rest of your fucking life. Like, for the rest of your natural life. And then I hope that when you die, your soul is incarcerated too. I hope that when you get to the crossroads, that your ass gets sent straight to hell and you have a cell down there too, big boy. Or should I say, little boy? Sorry, that was a bit much. But, I'm just verbalizing my thoughts. And again, I've been drinking. I've been drinking. I've been drinking. Anyway, so in December 2023, Sultan Sharif is convicted of first degree intentional homicide, party to a crime, and mutilating the corpse, and received life in prison without parole. Now, Johnny, he got his charges dropped down to obstruction, which is like a class A demeanor, which is so fucking crazy to me because this nigga helped. Like, he came and scooped you, and y'all was trying to get rid of the body. How the fuck? Okay. All right. That shows you like y'all could easily this could have been a slam dunk case. I really feel like I wish that they had gone after him more. But homie's out on time served. And when the verdict was read, Kanaya's grandmother, she's like extremely happy. She went and made a post on Facebook saying, "Thank you, Jesus. We got justice. Life." And of course, there's like interviews to the family and everything. And her grandmother, Charlene, she tells the interviewer, well, she was on her way to college to make her dreams come true until this demon took her life. Y'all, they gave Sultan 20 days to, appeal his sentence, which is pretty standard. The funny thing is, though, in addition to him getting life in prison, the courts gave him an additional 12 years for mutilating a corpse, plus ordered him to pay restitution in the amount of $1,246.96 payable to the Crime Victims Compensation Organization. And when you go to prison, you're getting paid like pennies for hourly pay. So that's going to take him forever and a day to get that paid off. Now, a year after her death, the family held a balloon release for her at McGovern Park, which is a very popular spot there. And they released pink balloons, which is one of her favorite colors. And the media was there to, film the entire thing. And, her father tells the reporters, even if you hadn't met or didn't know Kanaya, when you met Kanaya, you fell in love with her. She's going to make you smile. She's going to crack jokes. You just want to know who she is. She had a bright aura around her, like a bright light. And that is the story of Kania Brunson. Like, if nothing else, learning from that story, be careful about the moves that you make. Think about the decisions and the consequences of your actions because when you're young, or hell, honestly, when you old for that matter, and you're infatuated with somebody, you never think that they could do something that would hurt you. But pay attention to them red flags. And it's sad because Kanaya was a young and very pretty girl. She could easily move on and get another nigga. But the unfortunate stereotype is, having an older man and it means that you're more mature, just like being an older woman with a young nigga, you being the cougar. So if you gonna get you a sugar daddy, at least go ahead and get you a sugar daddy that, got sugar to give. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that it's a single one. Like, I think that the wife should have been charged as well, especially because she tried to lie for her husband. Like, that should have been some type of obstruction of justice or something. But clearly, the justice system thinks otherwise, which, okay. And as much as I rock with the, whole system on that one. Sultan getting life in prison is definitely the right move. Like, you seem to like prison so much, so now your ass can be up in there forever. Like, I hope there's some big Debo ass nigga that comes and gets your little midget ass and fucks the lining out your ass. You out here fucking around with a teenage girl that's more than less than your age, that's fucking almost literally almost half your age. Like, if not more, you out here fucking around with a younger girl, and now your old nasty ass, now your kids got to grow up without being able to see you on the outside. Like, I don't know if he has a relationship with his other children like that. I don't know if he has a relationship with his wife still. Looking at her social media shit, she's still very much living her life like it's golden. Shot girl done moved on, she doing her thing. I mean, you know she hasn't taken any pictures down or anything like that, so maybe I don't know, maybe she holds him down on the outside. Who know? I don't know. I doubt it, but I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Sorry. Anyway, so my thing is he out there fucking around on her, trying to, keep Cherie good, and he done went and killed his side piece, and now she can be out there fucking around on you. She could be out here getting dick down, and it ain't shit you can do about it. All right, y'all. We are going to go ahead and hop onto the infamous Express and head to our next stop, which is South Kakalaki, baby, South Carolina. Now, this story, I'm going to call it craziness, toxicity, because this victim went through a lot of toxic shit, and I mean a whole heaping amount. This case takes place in South Carolina, mostly Clemson and Easley, and it involves Sabrina Greenlee, victim, Anton Young, accomplice, and Savannah Grant, the infamous attempted murderer. Want to hear more? Go ahead and click the next episode, which will be available tomorrow. Y'all, it is after 1 o'clock in the morning. Your girl is tired. I've been up since 4. I had to go to work today, and your girl is exhausted. So, we're going to cut episode 1 here, and episode 2 will be available in just a few hours. But in the meantime, enjoy. Oh, my bad, y'all. So, of course, y'all can listen to the show on multiple streaming services. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, all of the good stuff. You can follow me on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you are following me on social medias, it's infamous one pod, and that's infamous the number one pod, especially with X and with TikTok. No, I'm sorry, TikTok is actually infamous one ONE pod. X is the only one that has the number one. If you are following me on Facebook, you can join the discussion group at the Infamous Ones discussion group. Y'all already know the drill. I'm not letting you in if your ass ain't answered the questions. Shout out to the members that have joined this week. Many have joined because of Spotify recommendations. Many have joined because they, heard it on Sisters Who Kill or Melanin Mayhem. So, that's how they found it. Welcome. Hope you guys are enjoying. Y'all know we cut up in there. We can post whatever, all of that great stuff. So, shout out to those that have joined. Um, if you want to donate, you can always click the link that's on your screen and it will take you to the subscription page. Or, you can cash app $INFAMOUSONEPOD. You can also send an email to infamous1pod@gmail.com for case suggestions. Real quick, I did want to do a couple of reviews. I know that, I'm going to literally be right back tomorrow with part 2 of the big 3, but just wanted to shout out a couple of people that left reviews. One is a review from Apple Podcast, and it is from Asha0295. And it says, "My girl, I love this podcast. The stories are thoroughly researched, and she puts just the right amount of animation in every story while remaining respectful. Keep going, sis." Listen, the struggle to be respectful, because sometimes I just want to be like, boy, fuck you, or girl, fuck you, especially when I see some of the heinous things that have been done, when I'm looking at it like, wow, okay, this is trash. Like, you really should like be under the jail. But I have to remember that logic of, all right, they're humans too. They're trash ass humans, but nonetheless, so I'm good with that. I'm happy that people think I'm being respectful. Uh, I definitely, am being respectful to the victims' families, of course, but when it comes to these criminals, fuck them. This next review also comes from Apple Podcast from Lit Mommy. And it says, "Top five. My girl K puts in the work. Stories are detailed and well researched. I'll be right when I'm caught up." Baby, I hate getting caught up. Like, I be so mad. Y'all know how many times I have restarted Sisters Who Kill, and I just restarted Melanin Mayhem. Hell, I just restarted my own. Okay. Like, but I like the fact that I restarted my own podcast, because going back and listening to the episodes from the very beginning, I see that growth. I see, the areas that I needed to tweak and fix. And now I'm like, okay, I really did the damn thing. Like, okay, I sound a lot better. Oh, this is, I like this. This is working for me, all of that great stuff. So I get it, when you're having to get caught up and you just be like, "Damn, all right, what am I gonna listen to now?" And you're like, all right, I'll just start it over again." Like, that shows some love and dedication. So thank you to those that have done that, because I've had some of y'all reach out and you're just like, "All right, I done caught up, so now I gotta start over again." Appreciate you. Okay. More episodes are coming. Don't worry. Like I said, tomorrow I will be doing part two of the big three. So hope y'all are ready for that. But for now, your girl about to lay it down, because I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning and it's a little after like midnight. I'm tired. Okay. Mama tired. I gotta go to bed. So I will see you guys tomorrow with part two of the big three. All right. Love you guys. Have a good evening. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay. Be sure to like and comment on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so that you never miss an episode.